welcome to this week's Karma Cards. Oh my gosh, do I have a story for you? So, those in Washington State, I don't know how many people were affected, but yesterday, or rather actually, what was it? Tuesday night, we had an epic storm come through. It was very windy. A lot of trees got knocked down. And in my area, we lost power for 20 hours. So we were we were in the dark for 20 hours. So I missed doing karma cards yesterday, but I'm here today to do karma cards for this week. And the message this week is pretty simple, but it's also very potent. They want us to continue to stay grounded in ourselves. They continually remind me that the whole point of this journey that we're taking right now, it's a double journey. It has an exterior or external world focus, but the dominant journey is still the journey of the self, right? The spiritual growth journey. So they remind us to be in the world, but not of it. And you can tell when you're in the world, but not of it, when you can actually disconnect to the external world, when you can take a step back and you can focus in on your own life. You can see the direction that you want to go in. You can see what your values are. You can see, where you want to focus and where you're heading, right? When you can take that moment to pause and breathe and recollect yourself. That's when you know you're in the world, but not of it. When you move in the other direction, when you really get caught up in it, this is where you feel thrown around. You start to feel insecure, right? Because your security is starting to be connected to the external world. So to ground, to really ground and allow yourself to be in this world but not of it, means that one of your primary focuses at this time is to discover how to ground and how to bring security, or the idea of security, bring it inside yourself. So again, the message is connected to this idea of what are you connecting to in the outside world that gives you security, right? Is it money? Is it your home? Is it your job? Is it the place that you live in? If you're connecting to exterior sources, see, this is where we run into real insecurity, because these are things that can possibly be, not guaranteed, but possibly be taken away, which always keeps you feeling a little insecure to start with, but also keeps you in a place of fear. So if you can allow yourself to redefine what security means to you, where do you find that? If you can anchor it within. So this is a message I've been working with for a long time, because when I first got it back in 2016, it was so confusing when they said to me, Therese, you need to learn how to root into your internal plane. You need to learn how to ground in the internal plane. And I was like, thanks. Yeah, so when I got that message, I was like, I don't understand. But over the years, obviously, I've been constantly coming back to, what does that mean? How do you move security inside? And I'm going to tell you, it's a work in progress. It's not something that you just get one day and you're like, okay, cool, I got it. It's something that you're constantly working on. But one of the key ways you can start to create an internal sense of security that cannot be shaken is when you start trusting yourself. And trusting yourself is one of those things that you just have to start practicing. So for those who practice it, awesome job, keep doing it. For those of you who want to trust yourself, but you're not sure that you can, it's one of those things where you just have to jump in and start doing it. It's a muscle that continually, the more that you use it, the stronger it feels. And over time, you really start to know that you can trust yourself. So by doing that creates, again, internal sense of security. And therefore, when you have that, and when the outside world goes batshit crazy, you can know that you're in this world, but you're not of it. You're connected to something deeper and stronger. So that is their dominant message for this week. Also, I want to just add to that, working on heart-mind coherence also helps you to anchor in to your sense of inner security. So heart-mind coherence. You've probably heard me talk about it before. If you want to know everything there is to know about it, I really suggest going to heartmath.org. They are the ones who really pioneered heart-mind coherence. But it's actually quite a simple technique, and it really starts with connecting with your heart. So hand over heart, right? Breathing in and out through your heart. So you're just imagining that breath coming in and out, and you're taking all that intense mental energy and you're letting it just liquefy. That's what I like to think is like this hard ice cube that just starts to melt, and you're letting it, your attention, concentration, move down to the heart center. So you're just letting that come down. Then we practice warming the heart. And this is my favorite part. Sometimes I forget to do it, even though it's my favorite, because I'm like, I just want coherence, right? But really, the icing on the cake and what really does it, and this is what creates the field, okay? So a field of energy around you, is connecting in to a very high vibrational feelings like love, feelings of compassion, feelings of nurturing, like I love you, I care about you, and appreciation as well. So I appreciate you. So when we can connect to these feelings from within inside our heart, once we've moved our attention here, we actually start to create the field around us, this energetic field that, again, as you've heard me talk about in past sessions, this is what changes the frequency of an area, is when you start creating this field. So by doing that, just practicing that, practicing getting into your heart and creating this authentic feeling of expansion, either through love, through care, through appreciation, you raise your own frequency and you can really start to get into contact with you. And it's so much easier to trust yourself when you're in this higher vibrational place because you feel yourself. So I would strongly recommend taking time, a little time every day, just to connect in with that. That can help to build that awesome self-trust muscle, which creates confidence and creates a sense of security inside yourself that becomes unshakable and cannot be destroyed by anything outside of you. You become the tower of strength. So I just wanted to give you that because that was the dominant message coming through from the team today. So now let's get to karma cards. All right, so for those who are new to karma cards, I have 3 sets of cards. I have the planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. I've already talked to my team. I've asked them, what message do you have for me? And the cards have literally, this time we're just like popping out of the deck all over the place. My brain just went bloop. Oh, the reading for this is for the time period of today, January 14th through the 21st of January. So for those who want to play, I've got 2 sets of answers. I've got answers in red for action and answers in blue for outcome. And to play, you just tune in to yourself and decide whether you need action or outcome. While you're deciding that, let me tell you the flavor of this reading. So we've got Dreamy Neptune, spiritual Dreamy Neptune, in the sign of Taurus, in the 5th house, the 5th house of creativity, love, romance, and freedom. Awesome. And there's something else I wanted to tell you. There is both Mars and Uranus are currently in Taurus right now. So it's interesting that Taurus comes up here because this is a very intense energy. It's a very earth-related energy. So our physical world, the things going on in the physical world, we're going to notice that. So we've got Mars, which is the action taker. And then we've got Uranus, which represents the new age. It represents the age of Aquarius, age we just started moving into. And I love that Uranus is paired with Taurus right now because Uranus rules Aquarius and it is an air sign and it's very fast. It's such a fast thinking sign and it's very expansive, but it's not grounded. And it can take us like way out there really fast. So I love that Uranus paired with Taurus right now, which kind of brings it slows it down a little, makes it a little bit easier for us to digest everything that's happening. It also makes it a little more grounded for us, so we can stay grounded while we're going through such a huge, and I'm talking like cosmic, I'm talking ascension, huge transition time. So with Taurus and Uranus together in a conjunction in Taurus, we feel it. We can feel the shift. We know something big is coming and we're waiting for it. We can feel like a massive, maybe a plot twist or some kind of big action happening, and it can make people really antsy. It can make people want to be a little bit impulsive and take action too quickly. What you have to understand is that you need to balance that intense desire to like move something with that grounding, which is why I say thank you to Taurus for slowing us down a little. Otherwise, some of us would be just unhinged and just off the chain over. we would be pushing way too hard right now with this conjunction. So to have this earthy energy, it's saying slow down, ground. It's saying you're in the world, you're not of the world. Step back, right? Remember who you are at a higher level. Remember the real mission and goal here is the journey of the soul and your personal growth. Trust that that is connected to the bigger events, the ascensions, the transitions, the changes in the world. It's all connected. So you don't have to push on that one. Rather, stay in your journey. Stay focused on that. And that way you will be able to harness this beautiful connection of feeling motivated to get something to happen with that temperance of stay calm, stay grounded, stay focused, stay in a sense of security in yourself. Trust yourself, trust your heart. Okay, so we've got all of this going on right now. So for those who are choosing red or action, your spiritual action at this time is to inspire others with your beliefs, with the trust of a child. Okay, so that's the 5th house again. We've been getting this one a lot. With the trust of a child means 100% total trust. Inspire others with your beliefs. So children are very unfiltered, right? Like I have 2 of them. They will say exactly what comes into their heart. Whatever they're inspired to talk about or say or share, they will do. And we're in this time of weird, what's happening right now is not, it's not real. There is this weird overlay happening. But what it looks like is we're not allowed to be authentically ourselves. And yet everything in the universe says, be authentic, be authentically yourself. It makes it very hard. Again, it creates that insecurity. We're getting external world telling us what to do, but our heart is telling us what to do. And I'm just saying, keep going into your heart. Keep letting your heart be the leader, the sovereign being leader. If you're too worried about the external world or what others are saying, that is actually contaminating your authenticity. So don't let that happen. You don't need to let that happen. And inspire others with your beliefs, with the trust of a child. You'll know when the moment is to do it. You'll know when it's appropriate. And you can trust that too. Your heart's connected to divine timing as well. So it's, again, just continue to work from your heart space and let the illusion, let the story going on out there play out as it will, knowing that your job is to stay connected to you. Mental action at this time. Be prepared to sacrifice for the costs of fun, romance, and making art. Be prepared to sacrifice for the costs of fun, romance, and making art. So again, sacrifice is such a heavy word here. And it can be a kind of dark word, but I also feel like it's really about letting go. Be prepared to let go for the costs of fun, romance, and making art. Again, and it's interesting because the 5th house is very playful and childlike. It's connected to the heart. There's so much exuberance in it. It's also connected to sovereignty. It's really interesting. We need to meditate and contemplate on the fact of the sovereign child. All right, this is very this is going to get you really close to your truest nature, the sovereign child. I just want you to, I'm going to put those words out there. You ruminate with them and let them come into you the way that they're meant to. But again, in periods where it feels heavy and dark or confusing, it can feel wrong almost to have joy. Even though, so it can feel wrong that when there's so much anger, frustration, pain, strife, and suffering, can feel wrong to find joy, to find your joy. And yet it's in that moment that finding that is like a key, okay, a key back to your true nature. Because again, that outside world is coloring something, and you don't have to let it color you, right? It's actually in these moments that finding that is true bravery, because that's who you are on a core level, is joy, right? Is this sovereign child being. So the sacrifice here might be, or the cost really might be, that someone's going to give you their 2 cents on how appropriate or inappropriate they think you're being. Again, they're going to try and there's a possibility that your very being, just by being yourself and authentically you, is going to get backlash, right? Just remember that part of that is the old control system that's dying, and it's doing its damnedest to make sure it can take as many beings down as possible. You don't have to let it, right? Be authentically yourself. You might get backlash. You might be told that you're inappropriate. You could be told 2020 has shown us we could be called all sorts of names, right? You don't have to take that on just because the world throws it at you. It's part of a dark control mechanism. And those who are in a lower vibrational state, unfortunately, are playing into the hands of it. You don't have to, though. You can raise back up at any time. So allow that to be the case. Allow yourself to stay in your authenticity. Right. The physical action at this time, yielding is the only way to use the most yielding is the only way to use the most direct way and do it dramatically. I think this has to do with the fact that as you're continuing to stand in your authenticity, as you're getting closer to your true soul nature and who you are at a deep level, just letting this form, as you're getting there, it's like there's this desire to kind of correct that broken system, that old system that's dying, to correct the outside world, to correct it's like almost like engage with it, and you don't need to do that. So allow it to be there, allow it to have its say, allow the structure to do what it's doing as it's in its like death throes, right? The old paradigm, the old control structures, allow them to have their little death throes, and allow yourself to continue to stand in your authenticity without arguing about it, apologizing for it, or minimizing yourself in any way, which means you will have to surrender and allow that two realities are coexisting together. Now we are at the bifurcation. We're in multiple realities. We always have been. It's just so clear now because fourth density is all about clarifying what's happening. So we don't have to push back on it. We can yield, allow it to be there, right? There's this fear of like, if I allow that control structure to exist, or if I allow it to have its words, or if I allow it to express itself, then somehow that could have a negative impact on me. And it's not true. It's coexisting. All right. Let it coexist. Let it do its thing. You're not there. You're in your own space. You're in your own timeline. And the more authentic you are, you're naturally going up in energy. All right. Okay. And by the way, it says do it dramatically. And to me, to be dramatic in that way, it's almost like you're just taking a stance. When you take a stand in in yourself, when you stand for you, when you stand by you, no matter how threatening that may feel at times, that is dramatic. That is power. That is called grounded, silent power, to stand by yourself, regardless of what's happening in the world. So you can let that happen without having to, sometimes drama looks loud and flashy. This is not that kind of drama. This is like that intense, deep, grounded, silent drama that the cards are talking about. So let's go to those who are choosing outcome. If you chose an outcome or both, your spiritual outcome at this time is the idealization of resources to maintain the power of love. Okay, idealization of the resources to maintain the power of love. And again, that comes from Neptune. Neptune is very spiritual, dreamy, expansive. It's not as tangible. It's very esoteric in its approach. So the idealization is the highest version of the resources to maintain the power of love. All this is saying to me is that as you stand in yourself and stand authentically with yourself, no matter what it looks like, you're naturally reaching up to maintain your higher resources. I mean, one of the most amazing things that you can feel is, if you're looking for someone who had to have your back, ask yourself, do I have my own back, right? Like if you're looking for someone to have your back, ask yourself the question, do I have my own back? When you feel like you have your own back, there is this amazing column. It's like a column of light that you can feel inside of you. It's very tall and erect. It feels very grounded and steely and strong. Those are the resources right there to maintain the power of love. Our spine, when we align it, right, it works like a channel of light. And it is like this channel of light. All your centers line up and they create this beautiful column of light that comes through you. Allowing yourself to stand authentically with you gives you that column of light, okay? Mental outcome at this time: confusion regarding the practicality of investments, gambles, and other games. Confusion regarding the practicality of investments, gambles, and other games. Right. So again, there's these two things going on. It's always like we're always looking at polarity and fourth density. We're always aware of the polarity. There's me, and then there's you, and then there's the world. There's light, there's dark, there's expansion, there's contraction, there's up, there's down, right? We really feel this polarity. So it is a confusing time period. It's like the actions to take are so simple: to stay grounded in yourself, to focus in on yourself. It feels really confusing to do that because you're like, but the world is on fire. I feel like it's on fire. And yet you're still being asked to stand in yourself. That can be confusing. You're being asked to raise up your frequency and allow yourself to be on a higher timeline while simultaneously just allowing the other one to exist. Allow it to be there. Watch it play out. We're being asked to do that. That's confusing, right? So it's natural to kind of be in this place of what the heck is going on? That's a natural response to this time period. And if you're looking for something logical about that, that just makes it even more confusing because it's harder to follow the thread now. You can be in the same room with other people who are experiencing reality in a very different way. And as I keep saying, we need to respect that. Reality is different for them. We're on different timelines. It's not just a different perspective. It's not just a different outlook. It's a reality that's happening. And that can be confusing because we're not used to seeing that. That's new for us as humanity to really get to experience multidimensionality and see it in the external world. That kind of blows people's minds. And there's so many people trying to get back to what they recognize, which is this sort of conglomerate of all the energy working together, where that made more sense, which is fine. That's what we are used to. It's not going back though. It doesn't do that anymore. We continue to expand. And so we're not, you shouldn't expect yourself to have mastery of this yet. I don't know how many people could say they have mastery of, witnessing multiple timelines. However, we are continually asked to practice it. And the more that you do, the more you are okay with it, and you get that expansive feeling, and you have the compassion that really kicks in. You really start to come from a more beautiful place of trying to understand, like reaching out and understanding. And that's where we are. All right, the physical outcome at this time: sacrifice resulting from the productivity of your creations. All right, so again, there's that sacrifice thing, but we're looking at Neptune here. And again, with spiritual understanding, we always have to let go of something. It's like there's always something that we let go of to receive more. So we're letting go of old thinking, old patterns, old behaviors. Like we're letting go of the idea of a enmeshed timeline that's just one solid thing that everyone can agree on. We have to let that kind of stuff go. We have to go more multidimensional. We have to be in a more expansive place, which again has that sort of ungrounded feeling to it. Again, as we're working with Aquarius, air energy, right? So thankfully we've got a lot of grounding. We still have a lot of planets in earth signs, which keeps us grounding. And they're saying the more productive you are at creating your reality, the more you have to let go of. Why? Why is it the more productive you are at creating your reality, the more you have to let go of? Because you have to let go of old concepts or other people's ideas that have been handed down to you about what reality is. Now, I realize, like, sometimes I listen to this and I'm like, man, do I sound, it can sound a lot like I'm like, live in your own world. And I guess it could sound like that, but that's not really what I'm saying. I'm saying you are a creator being creating reality. Yes, you are co-creating with others, which means that some of what you will experience is out of your hands, but there is a decent chunk of it that is in your hands. And the more productive you are at creating this reality that you desire to experience, the more you will have to let go of old concepts, old beliefs, limiting thoughts. Maybe you have to do some real reevaluation of your values and see if there are values that are actually not authentically yours. They're just handed to you. So it does require digging. It requires actually letting go of some of your comfort zone. That's an area that we've been asked to sacrifice a lot in lately. And I think we will continue for a while to be asked to let go of being comfortable, because growth and comfort don't happen at the same time. But growth is very good, and growth is what we ultimately want. Nobody really wants to stagnate. We all want to get better or evolve or move up or move through something. We do. We just keep forgetting that to do that, we really have to get out of these comfort zones that we're used to. And so during this time period, some of us are a little bit more willing to get uncomfortable. And a lot of times we got to be pushed in, right? So the better you are at the more productive your creation, so the better you are at creating the life that you want, a little bit more discomfort is going to come with that. I would wear that, if you could, like a badge of honor that you're actually doing it. So you can kind of measure, how uncomfortable am I? I really must be growing. I really must be in more of a creator space. And as somebody who makes art for a living, I can tell you that every creation I've ever made comes with this horrible period of discomfort. There's the initial phase where you've got an idea and you get it kind of on the paper, you get it out there and you're like, this looks good. I'm really hopeful that this is going to go in the direction I want it to go. And then you get that middle stage where it looks like shit. And it looks like you've just messed up everything that you were trying to work on. I call it the ugly teenager phase or the ugly duckling phase, because it's awkward. and it's not the creation yet. And that's where a lot of growth is happening. That's where a lot of struggle or conflict happens. But that's also where solution comes in. That's where the genius happens. That's where thinking outside the box comes in. And then you get magic, like straight up magic. You get through it and you get something either almost exactly like what you're looking for, or most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, you get something that you didn't even think of that comes out. So it is worth it. It's worth it to get uncomfortable. It's worth it to let go. And if you want to feel that sense of security, you've got to trust yourself. Trust yourself that you've got this more than you think you do. And by doing that, you're standing for yourself, you're standing with yourself, and allowing yourself to be more authentically who you are. It takes bravery, but you've got it. So that's the message for this week. I'm sending so much love to you all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.